makes her being the executive director of Gig Harbor Now the perfect fit. Please welcome Jenny Wellman.
Okay. So I'm here actually with Vince Dice, who is our editor as well. So I'll let him, when he comes up to do his part of it, I'll let him introduce himself. So Miriam, how do I guess this is okay. Yep, I got it. So how many of you know about Gig Harbor Now? Yay, pretty much everybody. That's great. And do you read it often, every day? Do you have it on your phone? Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay, good, good. So I'll just go through real quick our mission and our vision. Our mission is to create and sustain a community-supported nonprofit news organization that informs, educates, and connects our community. The important part there is nonprofit. We're very different from a for-profit news organization. Our vision is as the eyes, ears, and voice of our community. Gig Harbor Now will encourage and inspire an informed, engaged, and involved citizenry. Oh, hi, Mark. So, big question, why? Citizen engagement. We lost a lot of citizen engagement, especially during the pandemic, when a lot of people moved here and weren't from here, didn't know anything about Gig Harbor. The gateway was not really providing a lot of information. So people just didn't really know a lot about what goes on here. So that's part of it. Local news provides the social glue that binds people together. It, tells the stories of the people of our community. It really helps with social interactions and just, having people be involved. Uh-oh, there we go. Okay, Miriam, it's not advancing. Okay, keeps our town informed and supports democracy. So a lot of studies have been done about what happens when you don't have local news and what happens to democracy. And people don't vote in elections the way they should. People don't run for office. And as an example, we had one person running for our mayor this last time around. So that's part of what happens. And so now we are no longer in a news desert. We feel like Gig Harbor Now has filled a role that was lacking. Okay, impact. So Pat, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit in a second. So this was a quote from Pam Holt. Pam just put in an advertisement with Gig Harbor Now for the film festival, which is coming up soon. I'll let you guys read it instead of me reading it out loud. And then Pat Lance. So not to embarrass you, but one of our reporters did a story recently about, oh, sorry, I must have hit it. Woo! Okay, let's try it again. There. So one of our reporters, Chris, did a story about the new announcements of the Peninsula School District about phones. Did anybody know about that before? Did anybody read the story? It was an excellent story, really well done. And that's the kind of thing that brings our mission, as Pat says, brings our mission to life. It makes it more meaningful. We also did a story about, and I'll let Vince talk to this if he wants to. We did a story about the doors on Discovery Elementary. Did anybody see that story? Because we ran that story, so we had parents and grandparents and people in the community come to us and say, this was after the Uvalde shooting, come to us and say, this has been an issue at this school for a very long time. And is there something we can do about it? And so Gig Harbor Now ran this story, and Peninsula School District got a lot of calls about it. And so they convened a meeting. And because of that, they are now putting doors right now on that school. So that was something that was really important. And then that's the kind of impact that local news can have. Okay, where are we now? We have 2 full-time staff. Vince Dice is our editor. I'm our executive director. We added Vince last year in March when we were able to raise enough funds to do that. And that was a really important step. And then I was added in January of this year after a large grant from the Cheney Foundation. So very helpful. We have 8 freelance journalists. I only have 7 pictures here. We have Ed Friedrich, Chris Henry, who did the school story, Charlie Glock Jackson, who was she was really one of the founding people of this organization. She had the vision initially. She and Lori Bonvicini, who's back here, really kind of pushed along with a lot of citizens in this community to get this going. And we have Ted Kenny, Dennis Brown, Julie Amon, and then Tanya Strickland, who does To and Toe and On the Go. And then we have a number of contributors who contribute different content. Hopefully some of you have seen the Gig Harbor Now and Then in the margins. And then we have a gardening column that we just got our first one. And we actually have a real estate column as well. So as nonprofit news organization, we're involved in a number of nationwide organizations. The biggest one for us is called the Institute for Nonprofit News. And it's a support organization that does a lot of things. They do a lot of advocacy for nonprofit news. They help us raise funds and give us ideas on how to do it. And I'll talk about a matching program that we do through them in a minute. Really great organization with a lot of good information. We also are part of Lion Publishers, which is the local independent online news. And then there's an organization out of Philadelphia called the Linfest Institute that we're a part of. So over the last year, we've also offered some more content. We were able to add some things. So one of the things we felt was important to add was obituaries. Obituaries are very costly. If any of you have ever had to place one, we felt like as a community service, we really wanted to offer obituaries free. So we need to kind of keep publicizing that. We also have a community calendar. And we're about to implement community announcements. So births, wedding anniversaries, whatever, you can submit a community announcement to us. And we feel like that's kind of an addition that we can make that will really engage the community even more. And so I just wanted to talk for a sec about our calendar. So we started our calendar about a year ago, I think it was, Vince. And we have over 2,000 events on that calendar. So many that it sort of started crashing our system. And so we started looking into ways that we could improve that and have better ways of viewing what the events are in Gig Harbor. So we wound up getting a grant from the Rotary Club of Gig Harbor to purchase software, yes, to purchase really robust software so that we could, and what it does is it puts the data out on a third party. So the data doesn't reside on our website. And so that makes a big difference in terms of how many events we can put out there and how many ways we can view it. So right now, and I'll show you this in a little bit, you can only see kind of a day and as much as a week. You can't see a whole month at one time. That was what was crashing our system. So we are partnering with the chamber and the city, and the hope is that Gig Harbor Now's calendar will become the go-to calendar for Gig Harbor. And it's important because what's been happening is, and especially in the nonprofit realm, a lot of nonprofits have had, and other organizations have had events that have been, there'll be 2 and 3 at the same time because people didn't know when an event was scheduled. And so they would schedule a fundraiser or something else. It happened to Rotary. And so we just want to make sure that people can go to our calendar and see what's happening on a particular date and plan around that. One nice kind of thing too is that if you Google what's going on in Gig Harbor or events in Gig Harbor, we come up #1 on the Google search. So it's getting a lot of traffic, and that's really nice. And we're really looking forward to working with the chamber and the city on this. Okay, so as a nonprofit, we're funded by individual donors. So we're funded by our community. We're individual donors. We do get some grants As I mentioned, we got a grant from Cheney. We've also gotten a grant a couple times from Sequoia Foundation. And then Rotary has given us a couple of 2 or 3 grants, actually. So we're really grateful to our community for doing that. We are selling advertising now. Lori Bonvicini, who's at the back of the room, is been selling it. Gary's already got an ad in there with us. Film Festival's ad should start today. And then sponsorships. So we had a sponsorship from Uptown Gig Harbor last year. We're looking forward to another one coming up with St. Anthony's Hospital System. And then the other thing is called Newsmatch, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Newsmatch is why we joined the Institute for Nonprofit News, and it's a nationwide collaborative matching program that's really robust, and we've done really well with that. So part of our individual donor base is a leadership circle membership, and leadership circle members are made up of just that, leaders in our community who support our mission in a way that is really significant. So they make significant donations for 3 years, consecutive 3 years. And it's really important to us because it helps with our sustainability. We can predict what our income will be based on those leadership circle memberships. And that's, in a nonprofit world, that's really important. Okay, so as I mentioned, Newsmatch is a collaboration between newsrooms, funders, and industry experts. So the Institute for Nonprofit News, funders such as the Knight Foundation, Facebook Journalism Project, the Google News Initiative, which is doing a lot right now in the realm of nonprofit news. So what happens is individual donations that we get between November 1st and December 31st are matched by Newsmatch. And there's a limit, there's $1,000 per person, and these are all individual donations. And there's a limit on how much we get in total. All right, Vince, you're up. So this is Vince Dice. You want to give a little bit of your background since we didn't get your bio?
Sure.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. I already feel like a success because I did not trip over the speaker and the power cord. So my name is Vince Dice. I'm the editor of Gig Harbor Now since March of 2022. Live in the now. My background, just briefly, is I worked at newspapers in Kitsap County for most of my career. First, I was the editor of a weekly paper in Silverdale, and then I worked at the Kitsap Sun, which is the daily newspaper in Bremerton, for about 17 years. In 2019, the Gannett Corporation, which owns the Sun, invited me not to work there anymore. Part of the industry-wide trend of layoffs at newspapers. I always joke that it was 17 years that I'd worked there, but the person who got laid off at the same time as me had worked there for 34 years. So a lot of people who devoted a lot of time to places like the Sun have been let go in the past 10 years or so. I was out of the industry for about 3 years, and then in 2022, Ed Friedrich, who kind of was the founding editor of Gig Harbor Now, but was doing it on a volunteer basis, wanted to give retirement a second try. Ed and I worked together for years at the Sun, and he recruited me into Gig Harbor Now, and he assures me that I was no worse than his 4th or 5th phone call. So, and I've been there ever since. So our staff, one of the things that we pride ourselves on, and I think that distinguishes us from some of the other like nonprofit news startups, is that we mostly use very experienced journalists to provide our content. We hear stories from other industry groups about nonprofit or online only news organizations that start up, and they're people who have no background in journalism, and they just kind of figure out as they go. And we welcome all contributions to our industry, but we do think it's better, and we take pride in employing journalists who have backgrounds in the industry. Ed Friedrich is a longtime reporter at the Kitsap Sun. Chris Henry, who covers schools for us, had the same job at the Kitsap Sun for many years. Julie Ammon, Marcia Hart, Ted Kenny, who's been writing a lot of stories for us lately, worked at the News Tribune for a long time. So it's something that we pride ourselves on, and I think distinguishes us from other similar organizations. That being said, I am the only full-time employee on the journalism side at Gig Harbor now. Everybody else we work with is on a freelance basis. We're always looking for new contributors. We do prefer, at least for the reporting positions, where you're actually covering a beat as a reporter, that we have somebody with a journalism background. We do make an effort to pay for our freelance stories. That's another thing that I think distinguishes us in many cases from other similar organizations. We don't want to rely just on unpaid content. We want to pay people for the work that they do. It's a big issue in journalism circles. People doing this work deserve to get paid for it. Some of our coverage focus areas, city government. I just saw Mayor Markley walk in, so she knows well that we're at just about every city council meeting. Charlie Glock Jackson covers the city for us, and with help from others as stories come up. Education, Christina Henry is our schools reporter. She's, as far as I know, the only reporter covering the Peninsula School District in the depth that she is. The News Tribune / Gateway don't really have the resources to do that. So most of the time, if you learn something about the Peninsula School District, you probably started with us reporting on it. Parks, Ed Friedrich covers the Peninsula Metropolitan Park District for us and other parks issues. He just wrote about the election, the PenMet board election that they had. He's got a story coming today about some other PenMet issues. A lot going on there, of course, with the Community Recreation Center and everything else. Law enforcement, I will write a weekly police blotter that every week is the most popular thing on our website. Even if it's not that exciting, and I wrote it, and I can tell you it's not that exciting, but people still click on it, so we'll keep providing it. Anything to do with public safety, of course, is people are interested in. Probably the most popular thing we've ever had on our website was the in March, I believe it was. They had the big crash that closed westbound 16 for half of a day, and that we were telling people about it, and people couldn't get enough of that story. So we cover sports, mainly high school sports. Season's starting up again soon here. I think I looked this up the other day, and the fall sports practice starts in like a week and a half, which is kind of hard to believe. As a parent myself, I can't believe we're talking about back to school already. This is the exception that proves the rule. Our person who covers sports for us is Dennis Brown, who has had no journalism background before we're coming to work for us, but he's passionate about sports, and he really wanted us to have a sports section, and he kind of made it happen himself. So business, not really a dedicated business reporter. We all do business features occasionally. One of my favorite stories that we've had recently was by Ted Kennedy. It was a feature on Planet Enterprises. Did anybody see that story? Pretty interesting, very almost completely unknown small business that has a couple of big contracts from NASA to build these just wild space age concepts for exploring Mars and planets of Jupiter and stuff like that. Very interesting story. And then health and wellness. This is something we'll be expanding in the coming days and weeks as we start working on what are we calling it? Not a sponsorship deal with St. Anthony Hospital. Some of our numbers on Facebook, we have about 4,800 followers. I actually checked this morning. It looks like we might have ticked up closer to 4,900. We have 3,000 subscribers on our newsletter. We were calling it the News Flash, and now we call it the Weekly Update. It comes out every Friday afternoon about 3 o'clock. You can subscribe to that on our website, gigharbornow.org. The weekly newsletter basically is a recap of every story that we ran that week and links to them. If you're not visiting our website every day, you should be. But if you're not, I'd recommend signing up for the newsletter, and you'll get everything that we have produced that week. We have about 80,000 monthly page views on our website. we've hit that benchmark about the last 4 months. So I think that's kind of our new floor. The best month we ever had was March when we had 130,000 because of that collision on Highway 16. And our website is gigharbor.org. We've been surprised to learn that many people only know us through our newsletter, and some, to a lesser extent, our social media presence. But our main product is our website. I make it my mission to post at least two new pieces of content every day on the website or on social media, at least every Monday through Friday. So
let's stop you here. I thought we should maybe go through the website a little bit if people are interested, because I want people to see things that they may not have noticed before. So Miriam, were you going to click on that or? Okay.
Okay. I was hoping I didn't have to figure out how to do that myself.
So, well, you want me to just sit there? Yeah. So, there's a second mic somewhere. This is our opening page of the website. Yeah, just go back to the picture there, Miriam. Okay. There's an X at the top. Yeah, there. So the story of the day is always the picture of the story of the day, and the title, the headline of the story is there. So that first story is always the newest story. And then Miriam, if you slide down. So this is just a general catch-all. This is the news, and we'll, show some of the latest stories. If you keep going down, think of it like a section of a paper. Okay. Arts and entertainment, business, community, education. We have a sponsor for that, which is Tacoma Community College. Environment, government, police and fire, sports, transportation. We will have health and wellness. And then we always leave up the students of distinction. Gig Harbor, Greater Gig Harbor Foundation sponsors the Students of Distinction program, but Charlie Glock Jackson is the one who writes the stories. And so we post them on our website, and we leave them up there. We think that's really important. And what's our last category? Oh, just photo galleries. So just kind of a little going around. So Miriam, if you'll go back up to the top, so you can get to that. So if you click on you could have done it probably there. Click next to home is news, sports, and then opinion. So we have some opinion pieces. We've had a few people submit, and we always like to have people submit pieces to us. We've had really good luck with those. A lot of commentary, which is really good. We're, like, as Vince said, we're always looking for content. So, please contribute. And then, so obituaries, this is where the obituaries are. And then the submission form for an obituary is there as well. And then calendar, calendar. It's separated by these categories, and we will have very similar categories when we get the new software. But as I mentioned, it'll be more robust. So right now, this is just kind of what it looks like. You can also see it in a week's format. I don't know about you, but I like to see a month at a time or more so that I can do that. So right there's the week. And so that's what's happening this week in Gig Harbor. Yeah. A lot of things. Yeah. I mean, so what happens is we have a person, Melanie Kerr, who we employ, we pay her as a contractor to go out and get the events right now. She's actually searching for them. In the future, we really, really want people to submit their events directly to us. And so that's what we're hoping for. And once the city and the chamber is involved with us, and they can kind of help us promote that, and you get people to start doing that themselves, because we might miss something. We can't always make sure we have everything, but you can put pictures in here. So the new calendar system is really beautiful, and we'll make an announcement when we get it set up. So there's just a few things. So this is a submission form. So, and you have to submit it. You don't have to, but we ask people to submit some kind of picture or something of their event or graphic of their event. So if you go all the way to the top, in the green bar at the very top, Miriam, yeah, you can talk. Well, I'll do that in a second. So advertising, you can submit advertising. Gary Parker has a current. So we have actually for advertising, we have the website advertising. That ad that's actually an ad. It's just we put something there for us because we don't have an ad to fill that space. And then if you click on a story, you would see ads at in the sidebar like you would, on most online newspapers. But anyway, and then we have the mobile version. We get most of the traffic on our website comes from people's mobile phones. So that's a big area. So that's where Gary's advertising right now. So Film Festival should be up today, I hope. So anyway, there's a submission form there. Sponsors, this tells you who our sponsors are. Like, as I mentioned, we're hoping we're going to be adding St. Anthony's there. Policies. So this is a big deal. To be a member of the Institute for Nonprofit News, we have to have certain policies posted on our website. We have to have a diversity statement. And the biggest part of it is fact checking, ethics and editorial independence, and corrections. And then we have to talk about our ownership and funding, board and staff, and our supporters. So I forgot to ask board members that are here to raise their hand or stand up or whatever. We have several board members here today. And I don't see a writer. We don't have any writers here today, do we? So yeah, Vince. So now go to the about, please, Miriam. So one of the important things here today is that I wanted to kind of look at. Well, I've already kind of showed you the editorial staff. Would you go to our supporters, please? So we do have this leadership circle membership, and where it's grown from our original 25, we now have 29 people on that. And then we list our donors. That's also part of what, as a member of the Institute for Nonprofit News, we have to display we cannot have anonymous donors. And we have to display anybody who donates a certain amount. So that's there. If you go back up again, Miriam, to about how to read Gig Harbor Now. So raise of hands again. How many of you are going to our website to read our stories? So so if you're not, do you know that you can? You can. Okay. So a lot when we're out talking to people in the public, we've done a number of events. We're finding that sometimes people think we are only a newsletter and that they can only read us on Fridays. And as Vince mentioned, that's really not the case. We are, Vince posts stories every day. So you can go to the website and look at it. And there is a way, if you go through this, that you can put it on your phone, on an iPhone or on an Android device, like an app. So you can go directly to the website every time you want to look at it. And that's a really nice feature. But the thing is that if people are only reading our newsletter, they're not getting the full thing, because on the website, as I've just showed you, we have so much more information. We have the calendar. You're not going to go to the calendar from your app or from your phone. You can, but you'd have to know where to go. So so that's a really nice feature. And if you kind of just scroll through, we are on social media. We're trying to be as active as we can. Like us, follow us, comment. We really like to hear from people. And that's part of the whole social engagement thing. We really want people to engage with us. Sometimes it's a little scary, but but it's very good. We really want you to do that because, as I say, as we say here, we are your community news source. We want to hear from you. Okay, so we can go back to the slide if you want. And I think, Vince, I don't know if your stuff is the next. Yeah.
So some ways that you can help us, as Jenny just said, follow us on Facebook, Instagram. I just created a Threads account for us yesterday. That's the Meta's Twitter analog. I haven't figured out how to use it yet, but we have one. X, the app formerly known as Twitter. And while there, please comment and share our posts. Sharing helps a lot. It gets our content in front of more people. Subscribe to our weekly email newsletter, which again, you can do on our homepage. It currently goes out at about 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon to get you all primed for the weekend. Spread the word. Just tell people you meet about Gig Harbor Now. I think there's an audience for the content that we're creating that's wider than the group that knows about us right now. So anything you can do to share the word, spread the word, we'd appreciate. Send us /me news tips or story ideas. If you hear about something happening around town or have an idea or a concept for a story, just let me know. My email is editor@gigharbornow.org. You can message us via Facebook or Twitter. There's a phone number on our website in the contact us part that you can call us at. It's really a voicemail box, but we do our best to call everybody back as quickly as we can. We are looking for volunteers for a number of functions, not so much the news functions, but things like we're staffing a booth at the Cruise the Narrows this weekend. We need people to help out with stuff like that. Are looking for people with marketing expertise and background, graphic design expertise and background. I believe we are currently recruiting for board members or occasionally recruiting for board members. So if that's something you're interested in, we're looking for younger people, especially, and people in some specific subject matter expertise areas. So participate in surveys. We're working on having some readership type surveys to see what sort of content people are looking for. I always like to believe that I know what everybody wants, but apparently there's more scientific ways to go about figuring out what we should be covering, and provide feedback either by commenting on the Facebook post or messaging us or calling us or emailing us. There's all of our contact information. info@gigharbornow.org, or if you want to reach me specifically as editor at the same domain, and the phone number that goes into a mailbox that will return your call. Yes, Stalis. Any questions?
Q&A. Thank you so much for being here. Raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. Just one quick question. Where is your physical office located?
In my house.
Vince, where's your?
Mine is at my dining room table. Yeah. No physical location.
And I heard a rumor that if I participate in one of the surveys, I get a free bagel at the Gig Harbor Bagel Shop.
Yeah, but you have to wait in line for it. I shouldn't say it. I'm told the lines are not nearly as bad as they were at start.
Okay, question down here. My question is, as you're growing in size, trying to be an independent source, do you have like an editorial board that balances this out, or what I'd be concerned about is becoming a lightning rod for discontent that will divide and could destroy, which I think you're trying to do. So I'm curious, what's your thought on that?
We don't have an editorial board in the sense that newspapers used to have them. We're governed by a board of directors, which sort of serves the same purpose. The editorial boards that I'm familiar with would participate in writing opinion pieces or staff editorials. They would do things like interview candidates for office and that sort of thing. We don't have that sort of a function right now, but I think our board of directors is intended and does serve the purpose of what you're discussing.
So in effect, our board are sort of the publishers. They're the ones who are responsible for what happens with the organization. But the other thing is too, is that, again, as part of our membership in the Institute for Nonprofit News, we are nonpartisan. We are not allowed to take a particular political stance. And so we cover both sides of every issue as much as we can. Hopefully that answers that question. So
Mark?
Yeah, you're both doing a great job. And
thanks.
you're both.
Thank you.
And I'm just curious, you have this, I know just enough about what you do to know that you've got it going work. And you have a long range strategy for staff growth and maybe a kind of a monetized notion of how you're going to accomplish it.
So I don't, I appreciate the thought. I don't feel that overburdened. I'm actually, because I enjoy what I do so much that I feel great actually most of the time. I love doing what I'm doing. We do have, I'm gonna let Jenny speak to most of this. We do have plans and dreams and hopes of eventually hiring additional full-time staff members. I should also say I'm grateful for all of the really excellent reporters we have working for us on a freelance basis. So Jenny?
Linda, you have something you want to say?
Thank you. I'm Linda Filson. I'm on the board and one of the founding members, along with a few others in the room. And we actually have a strategic plan that has in it going forward, hopefully for next year, to add a full-time reporter instead of a freelance reporter. Again, money is the issue. And I also just wanted to ask Jenny, if you could share with us the amount of money that we brought in this past year
Yes.
through Newsmatch.
Yeah. So I think this is pretty
Realizing
amazing.
that we are
Yeah.
just starting, or will be starting in 1 month, our 3rd year.
Yes.
We're
So
young.
we are young. And so we started publishing in September of 2021. And we did that so that we could participate in Newsmatch that first year. And so we really pushed to get people to remember to know that they could donate during that time frame and have their donation matched. So in November and December of 2021, we raised, with the matching amount, we raised $69,000. And that's pretty amazing when you think about that. For 2 months, this community contributed enough that we were able to get the matching. Last year, we thought, oh, well, it'll be great if we can get this same amount again. We raised $89,000 with the match in 2 months last year. So part of that is this leadership circle commitment, but it's every $5 donation is beneficial. And, we just need, I'm not going to do all the math now, but to cover our expenses, if people would do that, and we really like it, especially when people do recurring donations. But our budget is basically people. It's the salaries for Vince and I, and for the payments for our journalists. So if we can add another journalist, then we will this year. And one really important thing is, most of you probably wouldn't know this so much. Karen Kaiser, who is our senator from Federal Way, right? Just pushed through the state budget a provision to cover fellows out of, graduating out of the Murrow School of Journalism at WSU. And those fellows will be placed through this funding at local news organizations around the state, like us, who need reporting. So we don't know yet whether we'll be chosen as one of those, but we're going to really work towards getting that to happen for us. So that will be a really great way that we can get that funded, we hope. So.
I want to go back and fill in. I'm Lance, and I'm also a member of the board of this weighty title, President Emeritus. In any case, it was on tenth comment. I want to make it clear about how we function in a professional journalistic setting. We have something that when we scroll down, you would have seen as editorial independence. It's absolutely bedrock for what we do. And it means that Vince is here, Jenny's here. There's a firewall between us. We are on Jenny's side of the firewall. She's the only one who kind of moves across it and through it. In the meantime, Vince is responsible for content and how it meets the editorial independence kind of concept. And we've worked long and hard, plus the fact we've had help from the professionals in Institute for National or Independent News, nonprofit news, in what actually constitutes an editorial independent policy. So the wordsmithing of those policies means something real. And we want to assure our readers and the community that we want to be the eye, ears, and voice of the community, because we're established on a foundation that you can assure is trustworthy. We're going to be fact-based. That gives you editorial independence because you're not going to publish anything that isn't factual. We're going to be unbiased. That means we don't go at something with a point of view. We're delivering the news and information is what makes democracy tick. And and we are nonpartisan. That's a real, you all know me. I came into this kind of a world with a partisan badge on me. And it's just unfortunately the way it works once you're in elected office. But I have put that aside so completely that it's like another world. Even to put on this name tag is a big decision for me because I know that when I wear it, I have to be particularly careful, but I'm careful all of the time. Anyway, your question is really well placed. And I want you to feel assured as I leave the board here at the end of the year, that it's my value as well, and it's the value of all the board, that we stay the trustworthy, fact-based, community-supported news source for Gig Harbor.
All right, thank you. So Vince, when you run across a controversial story and you're trying to decide how to balance this and report it, you sometimes just roll the dice. Hey, one person I want to check in with Lori. Lori, you want to mention a little bit about the advertising component of this? This is really an encouraging area that can really benefit the publication.
Thank you, Kurt. We would be so grateful to have the support of any of you who have businesses, any of you who would like to take an ad. I have packets. Please let me know. I'd love to distribute them. We would really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
Just a quickie, would you differentiate between me going onto your website and reading your articles and all versus subscribing to the newspaper?
So there is a slight difference, and we're kind of trying to think about this in our marketing because we do want to drive people to our website. That's really important for us. But so like if you get the newsletter, you'll get the recap of the week's news, and you have to click on that story to go to our website. We really want people to do that. We really want people to be reading our stories and clicking through to the website. We can't really differentiate that much. Well, I guess we can. Do we know how people are, if people are clicking through from the newsletter to the website, we know that versus going directly to the website. But most of our traffic, I would say, comes through social media.
Yeah, the three main drivers are social media, search, Google search, and
Yeah.
then the newsletter is actually third, which is our newsletter is a pretty big success.
Yeah, we actually added a print capability to our newsletter so that people can print the stories, because people still like to print that, and have them, especially the stories about sports. Families want to print them so that they have memorabilia for their kids.
Thank
So
you,
are there
Steve.
benefits to subscribing?
Depends on how you want to read it. It's completely up to you. There are no specific benefits to subscribing, unless you just want to have it all come to your mailbox once a week instead of going to the website directly. Yeah, that's the main benefit. But if you do that, you might miss the things that I've already talked about as well.
All right, Steve.
Thank you. My question's for Vince. You mentioned your March biggest story, and I'm wondering about a follow-up. Many know Jerry Maynard. It runs on private baby corner. Jerry just got to go home.
Oh, wow.
This weekend after 5 months of surgeries and rehab. And so I wondered if I run a follow-up story on that, but maybe also is the guy that stole the truck and hit them, is that guy in jail?
That is a great question. I don't know the answer to it, and that it's a great idea about doing a follow-up. We'll work on that. The last time we tried to get information on state patrol out of that crash, there was nothing, but it has been a couple of months. So that's a great thought. Thank you for suggesting that.
So can I just say something really quick? So the thing is that if you do follow us on Facebook, if you do follow us on social media, Vince pretty much posts those types of stories. If there is a major accident in Gig Harbor, he posts those pretty immediately. And I've had so many people say to me, oh, I've run into a really bad traffic jam, wonder what it is. Oh, I better go look at Gig Harbor now and see what it is. Now it depends on, how bad the traffic jam is. That one in particular shut down all of Gig Harbor pretty much. And so, but people could still go and, they're sitting in their cars. They don't know what happened. They can see what happened if they look at social media. They shouldn't do that when they're sitting in their cars though. I shouldn't promote that.
Just one more thing about the subscription question. We're not, excuse me, we're not an old style newspaper where you have to subscribe to get the content. We're a website. All of our content is effectively free. You don't have to pay anything to read our website. The subscription that we have is to our email newsletter, which comes every Friday. That you have to actively do. But if you just want to read the news, there's no charge for that, although we would appreciate a donation.
All right, well, thank you. One final question, Jenny, since you're from Texas, do you like Texas barbecue?
Yes.
All right, thanks so much, Vince, Jennifer, being here. Really appreciate that. Board members for coming as well. And now for the good of the order, we got Mayor Markley is here, Mayor. Okay.
I see you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Vince and Jenny. We really appreciate what you guys do. I will make this very brief because we're running out of time. We have just one council meeting in August, one regular Monday night meeting. We take the second meeting in August off. We also take the second meeting in December off to give our staff and council a chance to go on vacation and to get some things done. So we do have a study session today at 3 o'clock. We're going to be introducing our new Historic Preservation Committee appointees. They'll be officially appointed at the August 14th council meeting, but they're going to come introduce themselves. This is a new commission for us. We had, I think, 11 applicants for 5 positions. And so it was just great to see so many people wanting to volunteer. We're also going to be talking about the hottest topic going on right now, which is our flag display policy. So that's going to be a discussion today. Public comment, however, will not be taken at study sessions. It will be taken on August 14th at first reading. We're going to be talking about Pierce County Fire District 5, a water utility extension agreement with them, a sewer extension. Really exciting stuff. I know everybody's really interested in that, but we will also have a short-term rental update from our community development department. And so you'll be interested to know how many applications have come in, how many have been approved. It wasn't a run on the bank like some people thought, which is great. So, but come and hear the update on that. You can also watch online. And then August 14th, we don't have that agenda out yet, but it will be out shortly. We had a great national night out celebrating our police, and Annie Up Band was awesome. Lots of dancing, thousands of people. It was just wonderful. We have a handful of Summer Sounds concerts left. I think 3 left for August. So come down to the park on Tuesday night and celebrate with us. And yeah, just continue to support our police and public works. They're just out there doing such a great job for our community. So thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Marshall. By the way, I saw you at the Girls yesterday. Did you shop there frequently?
Yes, I do. I bought a hat. I bought a
Is that for the Summer Sounds concerts?
Yes, it is.
All righty, online, we have Brittany Wiggins. Brittany, you want to share anything with us?
Sure, thank you so much. Just a quick update from Penn Light. October 2nd, we are introducing a new payment system called Smart Hub. It is widely used by utility cooperatives across the nation. So it's going to be very easy to access your account and look at your energy usage and manage payments. So we are excited to introduce that to our members. It'll just be a few easy steps to re-sign up and activate your account because you will get a new account number. But all of this information is coming out in our newsletters and online and on our social media. So I encourage everybody to pay attention to that. Again, October 2nd. So I'll continue to update. We'll also have informative flyers and such when we are in the community. So that is the most exciting update coming at you this fall.
Well, thank you, Brittany, and thank you, Penn Light, for continuing to sponsor the Public Affairs Forum. I really appreciate it. Is Steve Nixon still online? He's not. Okay, I'll give you an update for Penn Met Parks. Our movies in the park start up this Friday. That's in partnership with the city of Cape Carver. Thank you very much. They're held at the outdoor amphitheater at Zama Homestead Park. Also, the annual Family Fun Fest at Zama Homestead Park. We're combining the bike bash with it. It's going to be occurring here in mid of the month. So go to the Penn Met Parks website and check out all the activities that we participate in, as well as programs you can register your kids for and adult programming as well. Thank you all for being here today. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. Oh, one more thing, Jen.
I think I forgot to say thank you to the chamber for having us here today. I appreciate it very much. Thanks, Miriam. Okay.
That was the best news.
Yeah.